Hi guys, today we got to play.
Clue Master Detective. This is an oldie but a goodie. This dates back to 1988.
Yeah, when I was born.
And I was not. I was much older than that.
So it's very much like your old school version of Clue, except there's a lot more rooms, a lot more suspects, and a lot more weapon choices for the killer. So I feel like it's a more adult version of the old classic.
Yeah, let's point out this has been out of print. If it's not obvious, it's been out of print for many, many years. This is our goal is we're going to make it through our entire collection, by golly, and this is one that is part of our collection. It's an old one,
well, and it's actually popping up on our table fairly recently.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
We've had more interest. Alex has been interested in playing, and today we actually included Sarah.
Mm-hmm. So Sarah was able to play. She had to match the words a little bit, so she may not have understood what she was reading, but she was able to match them sufficiently. I think she did fine.
We had a little difficulty, but it wasn't too bad. It was her first time, so it went fine.
Yeah. And she'd have to look at every single card, and took her a while, but it was great. So overall, quality of pieces, though, you can't get more standard than this.
Well, I mean, the weapons are really nice. These
I guess that's
old
true.
brass. I mean, given that this was a 1988 game, these are really high quality brass pieces.
That is very
held up for the test of time. I will say this is my second copy of the game. I had this from my childhood and played it like crazy. Had a really nice copy though. I kept it in good shape. And then I had a basement flood at my old house, and it took away some of my favorite games from the childhood, and this was one of them. So I had to track down another copy. So this one isn't quite as nice than my original one, because I had to take beggars can't be choosers when it comes to an out-of-print game. But it had all the pieces, and I was able to take some of the pieces from my old game and preserve them. But this game is, all these brass pieces have held up really well for the years that it's been here. The cards, given how old they are still in amazing shape. These are old Milton Bradley cards. They're not textured by any means, but they, given the fact that this is 1988, these cards are still in good shape.
Yeah.
We probably should get some sleeves for them if I can find some that fit those. The pieces are old style. Wood,
meeple.
They're not meeples even. These are pre-meeple. They have no arms, no legs. They're just there.
Cones with heads.
The art on the cards is really nice for the game. I mean, this is like their special edition version, and the cards are, the art on them is really pretty.
I mean, they're aged. I mean, you could tell that from the time period, but they're fine. So the dice are pretty clear see-through green, so it's not even a standard white dice, which I think is nice. For its time, it was probably really well made. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, but even then, the brass components are better now than some of the pieces out there now. So
yeah, well, I mean, first of all, the board is 1/3 larger than what the standard Clue board is. I mean, the Clue board would cut off right here. This one is 1/3 larger, and it's got a fold-in style that you didn't see back in those days. So it's an uncommonly large board and an uncommon design for this type of game from the 1980s. So I think this is what they would consider a deluxeified game for the back in the day, and it shows. I mean, even though it is very dated, it shows that it was above
the cream
standard
of the crops at the time.
Yeah.
And I think you can see the datedness in the artwork, but overall, I mean, and the reality is, it's held up to time, right?
Like, I mean, so it still looks like a luxurious mansion that you're wandering through here, and
an old mansion that hasn't been visited in a while.
That apparently has a carriage house attached to the trophy room where you can smell the horses in the house, which I don't understand that, but okay.
Well, hey.
Hey, I didn't design their house for them. If they want to have their horses attached to the trophy room in the back, that's up to them.
That's totally up to them.
Hey, but it has secret passages, which is my dream home.
It does. So, give it a number.
given the time period and what this is, I'm going to give it an 8. I mean, it's way above what you would see in a standard game from the 1980s, by far.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is no different than the Clue I have. It's just more pieces. But
Do you have brass pieces for your Clue? All metal?
When we were growing up, they were silver, but yeah, they were metal.
Oh, see, when I grew up, the rope was plastic. And, you know, there was the only thing that was metal, I think. Well, the pipe was metal, and the candlestick, and the revolver, and the wrench, I guess. But of course, you didn't have poison or horseshoe or any of those.
So the rope may have been a white plastic, but everything else was metal.
Yeah.
Which were just these.
But they were also smaller.
They were a lot smaller. That is true. So, I mean, I can agree with an 8 with the caveat of the time it was.
Well, plus, I mean,
created.
Look, they really went all the intricacies of the
Yeah, but
rope.
that's the only thing that's amazing out of this game.
You got pistol has like a grip that's like that.
My thing is it's standard 30 plus years of gameplay, so we've got to give it some credit where credit's due.
There's skull crossbones on the poison even. That's really sweet.
It is. So I agree. I mean, it's nice. Now, theme is Clue.
Yeah. It's a mystery theme, which is automatically going to suck me in because I'm a huge mystery buff.
Well, see, I loved this game as a kid, and when Alex brought up that he wanted to play Clue for the first time recently, I was like, oh, standard Clue, fun kids game. I was willing to play it, but then Randy's like, no, I got a better version, and I was like, yes. So I was super excited. I love this theme. I love always the deductive reasoning. I loved playing this as a kid, and I still love playing it now.
Well, this is it. We're talking about doing some videos that'll talk about kind of how we got into the games and all of that. And to spoil that a little bit, this is one of the games that got me into gaming. I recall when I couldn't find someone to play with, I would sit out on the porch, and I became every other player and was going around the table. Like, it was completely stupid, but I was probably like 6 or 7.
You played by yourself? I totally did too.
I did, yes. I played and tried to solve it, and I did voices as the characters going around. Yeah.
No, I wasn't that crazy.
Hey, you play your game, I play mine. And I sat out on my porch during rainstorms and would play this game because it would set the mood. It was, wonderful game atmospherically to play sitting out on the porch. And this was the copy I played because I did not like the basic game even back then.
So what? Well, I didn't know this game existed back then. To be fair,
actually, I guess
born.
I wouldn't have been 7 or 8 because this came out in '88, and I would have been much older then. I guess this one. I guess I would have been. Maybe I was doing these voices when I was in my teens. Wow, I'm pathetic. I look back at it.
So, what would you give it a number for theme?
I mean, you can't really go wrong with Clue as far as theme. I mean, it's a set in a mansion. I mean, the game itself lends itself well to a mystery theme. Again, I'm going to give it an 8. I mean, I think the house captured on here is a very reminiscent, and I mean, it's what they recreated in the movies.
Cruella de Vil car.
The Cruella de Vil car, yeah. They got I mean, they went out and put croquet in the courtyard. And,
oh, they did, didn't they?
I mean, they just didn't.
They
got
did
a
put a lot
koi in the fountain.
They did do a lot of detail on this art. So I can agree with an 8. With the caveat, nostalgia is totally playing a part in our increase.
There's another car there.
Yeah, but that's not Cruella de Vil's car.
Oh.
Because that one's red and black. So, rules. I have no idea what the rules are.
The rules are actually really nice for this,
really?
given the period. It actually has like a little history of Clue in it, and it's got a profile of each of the characters.
Oh, nifty!
So, yeah, it's really... it's like I said, this is kind of their special edition, if you will, before special editions were a thing. So... it's got kind of why was Clue popular. Then you've got the rules don't even start until they don't have page numbers, but about halfway through the book, and the rules of course are really short. They did add a few features to this game from the basic Clue, which we could get into during gameplay. But I mean, if you don't know how to play Clue by now, you're probably one of the very few. We'll go over it. But yeah, I mean the rule book is for the time is really well done, and I mean, yeah, there's no cheat sheets or anything, but if you really need a cheat sheet for Clue, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, and we kind of forget to talk about the actual detective notebook. So there's some things I liked about the detective notebook. There's actually space to write notes, as well as the suspect lists and stuff like that. So I don't know about you, but it was always nice to have some pen and paper. Well, they provided that for you.
Yeah, the thing is, the one complaint, given the fact that this game is so old, it really kind of irrelevant. But there's 6 games you can play per sheet. They've got 6 lines, and then they have 1 page here. So if you're playing 6 games, you're gonna have to write really tiny in order to get your notes to fit in there for 6 games.
Well, maybe a lot of people don't use notes, but
if you don't use notes, you're going to lose this game. I mean, or else you've got a really photographic memory.
Hey, I won.
But you took notes.
Very little. Look, 3 lines.
That was your notes.
Yeah.
And I solved it for you is the reason.
No. I had 2 on my own.
Okay.
You gave me the person.
Yeah.
I didn't know who that person was. That was the only one I didn't know.
All right, so I mean, yeah, this works fine. The only problem is they didn't give you a whole lot of these on the pad. And although I just saw before we started this video on the back, if you order additional detective notebooks, we can send $3 for 2 postage and handling included. So $3. Now I have a feeling this offer is no longer valid.
I feel like that's probably true.
But it's actually Parker Brothers, not Milton Bradley. I got it wrong. Parker Brothers game. So if we write to Parker Brothers, aka Hasbro, and demand that they honor this, I'm sure they'll send it for $3, 2 of these notepads to us.
I don't believe you.
We could try.
They might give us a PDF file for it, though.
I really doubt they have a PDF of this. This is before PDF existed. You realize?
Well, I mean, maybe a word sheet.
They might send me a email saying thank you for your email if I'm lucky, and say you are an idiot. Basically, a nice lettering.
Well, do you have a blank copy that we can make copies for? Right?
I do. I think we're going to have to make photocopies of it.
That's what we're going to have to do. So into gameplay. The gameplay is very straightforward. When it's your turn, you roll the dice, you move your figure. If you land into a room, first, something new that's not in normal Clue but is in this one, there are little spy glasses. If you go through a spy glass, you can just randomly pick a player's card, so you get to choose the player and pick it. But then if you actually end up in the room, then you get to make a guess.
Suggestion.
A suggestion. And that suggestion will have a person, a weapon, and the room that you're in. And then the person to your left has to prove you wrong. And if they can't, then the next person in line, and then the next person until it goes all the way through. Now, at that point, you can choose to make a guess or continue or let the next person go. So eventually you gather up information until you solve the whodunit.
Do you really feel silly explaining how to play Clue to people?
No, actually,
okay.
I don't.
I just imagine there's very few people in the world that have not heard of Clue or played Clue.
You don't know how many things I have to explain to so many people every single day for my job.
So if you didn't know how to play Clue, that's it. That's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, I can't get any more details because there are no more details. That's it. No, I do think there is a difference with these eyeglasses. Those are not on the original Clue.
Oh, yeah, that's different. There's more rooms, more suspects, and more weapons. It's basically almost double of everything.
So other than that, there's really not much more.
Yeah, there's a few extra secret passages too. As you mentioned, if you're playing Clue, there's always secret passages, and there has to be in a house like this.
Yeah.
If I owned a house like this, it would have lots of secret passages.
I don't know why there's not a secret passage in our house now.
I'm still working on that one. The problem is I would have a secret passage from the game room to the game room, and that would kind of defeat the purpose, because the entire house is the game room. So, so I'd be going from one game room to another, and I'd be confused where I was.
So, on to gameplay. We kind of already talked about the synopsis of the gameplay. But overall gameplay, I love this game. It brings a lot of nostalgia for me, but it's still a lot of fun. You're actually thinking about it because you're trying to figure out how to get information without letting other people know the information that you have. And so it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and this is absolutely the best version that I've ever played of Clue. I've never played a version that I've preferred to this. There's been lots of different iterations and variants over the years of Clue. Hasbro for many years killed the gaming industry just by releasing rehashes of their key games.
But there's got to be a game out there that's like Clue, but like better, especially now with all.
Well, we've got some mystery type games that'll be coming up throughout. Particularly, I'm thinking probably around Halloween we'll be featuring a lot of those. So, if you're trying to track down a game of Clue, and this is by far, in my opinion, the best one to try to find. You can obviously buy Clue off the shelf, but I would try to track this one down and see if you could get it for a fair price, secondhand, because it's definitely one that is going to hold up. It's by far better than just the 5 or 6 suspect one that you get in the standard, and it will hold interest between you and whoever your younger ones if they're playing. So I highly recommend this version of all of them.
Okay, so thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and we really appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of what we do, or the notification bell. Bye.
Bye.